Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and I have with me world-class trainer, Uncle James Ali Bashir. Uncle, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Great. Want to talk to you about, obviously, the fight you had just last weekend with Usyk and his great win over Rodriguez. Let's talk about it.
I like I said, I was saying to you early on in our last conversation that one of the tragedies in boxing today is handlers, managers, trainers, promoters, etc., etc., etc. One of the tragedies is when they rush a potentially good fighter. And for this point in Usyk's career, I think he's on schedule. He's on time. He hasn't been in fights that was over his head. He's been in with some decent professionals. I wouldn't say they were the top tier professionals, but he's been in with decent guys, good fighters.
Has he had enough rounds under his belt and enough good opposition to be prepared for the world title shot, which you're talking about in the spring?
I think that his pedigree, the fact that he won the World Games, the fact that he was in the Olympics twice and he won it on his second effort. I think the fact that he won the World Games and all the other tournaments that he was in as an amateur, he saw top flight fighters in those games. And I think that will help him along as a professional. Some fighters need a lot of fights and some fighters don't need quite as many fights. I think that he's prepared. He's prepared to fight for the world title now. Yeah, I think so.
Let's go back and look at the Lomachenko situation where he fought Salido. Was that because it was too early in Lomachenko's career?
No, I just think that I think Salido just got by. He just got by. If that was a 15-round fight, Salido would have got knocked out.
Okay.
That's one of the setbacks of the 15-rounders. Because when you look back at the 12 and 15-rounders, if Thomas Hearns versus Ray Leonard was a 12-rounder, Tommy Hearns would have won that fight.
Right.
If Mike Weaver was in a 12-round fight with John Tate would have won that fight. So the 3 extra rounds is what enabled them to actually win those fights. So that's one of the setbacks. And I think that same thing would have happened with the Lomachenko-Salido fight. Salido was hurt badly in that last round, but it wasn't enough time to complete the job.
Right. Let's go back to your fight to Usyk then. What do you think in the fights Usyk's had? He's 9-0 now, if I'm correct?
9-0.
Right. From the point you took him on as a pro to 9 fights, what have you seen as the improvements or changes or developments or progression in Usyk 9 fights in? From when you first had him, from the amateur ranks.
We get along. Yes, the way we get along, the way we communicate in the corner, to hear is to obey. When I ask him to do something, it's not like it comes 2 or 3 rounds later. It comes instantly. If I could tell him to make a left turn and a right turn, he'll make the left turn and the right turn upon my request. So I think that's one of the great improvements is that he listens well and he applies what he hears, what we practice inside of the training efforts.
What do you do to ensure that it's your voice that he listens to all the time and it's not people from the outside that can influence or infiltrate his mind in training or come fight night?
Yeah, I had some issues. I had some issues when we were preparing for fights in the gym early on. And I pulled him aside and I said, listen, you can't listen to everybody in the gym, your friends and other people who are associated with our corner. You can't listen to them. You need to listen to me when you're out there. I said, because if something goes wrong, it's not going to reflect on them because nobody knows them. It's going to reflect on me. He said, no. He put his hands on my shoulder and said, I assure you that people outside can say all they want to, but believe me, I'm listening to you. I hear your voice above everybody else's, so they can holler and scream all they want to. I'm listening to what you say. He assured me of that, and I left it alone after that.
Do you think, obviously Usyk's got a family life there, Do you think it's more? Do you think it's more better for a fighter to have a family, settle down, and then chase his dreams, or do you think the other way is better, where you chase your dreams and then settle down with your family?
Usyk had a family all the way through the Olympics.
Okay.
He married young, and
Yep.
he's got a daughter, I believe, 7 or 8 years old.
Right.
And he's got a son that's at least 4 or 5, and he's got a brand new son. So he's always had a family life. He's only 28, 29 years old, right. So he's had a family life. So he knows how to juggle the two without it affecting him as an individual inside the ring.
Right.
Some fighters can't do that. There's rare fighters that can do that, and most fighters can't. They're outside, their personal life affects their performances inside the ring. But Usyk seems to be able to juggle the two of them, and it doesn't affect him.
So do you think that's a bonus for him, obviously, because you've got him settled. You've got him ready just to fight, so that his domestic life doesn't, he's not going to be caught up chasing women or all those sort of things that a young fighter would get caught up in. Because
when I say that Oleksandr Usyk is the single best professional fighter that I've ever trained, I'm saying that this young man comes to me and as a whole package: focus, discipline, balance. He's just an all-around good guy. He's very spiritual, very, very spiritual. He's not one of those part-time Christians. He's a full-time Christian. And I don't have that kind of problem with him. Where he's ripping and running with women and stuff like that. I don't have that problem. I've always had that problem with a lot of boxers, but I don't have that problem with him. This young man is very well grounded, and I appreciate that. I respect that.
Sort of statement you said that Usyk could go on to be a all-time great. Talk to me about that.
He has those attributes that leads me to believe that, yes, this guy can be an all-time great. It's a good chin, good boxing skills, good ring generalship. He just has so much of a complete package. I believe that he can go on to become an all-time great. This is what I'm seeing now.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I believe, that he can actually do that. He likes what he's doing. He concentrates on what he's doing. And throughout the time that I've been with him, which is nearly 3 years now, I've always seen the same guy walk in the gym. There's never a different guy that comes in the gym. Every training camp is the same way, the same person. I'm seeing the same person. If something is wrong, he'll come to me and say, I'm tired. I'm tired. Or my hand hurt, or my elbow hurt. He'll come directly to me and tell me that. We discuss it. We've never had a disagreement thus far. Not one.
I've never asked you, but how do you go about getting sparring partners?
Or the process right here in Europe.
Yeah, the process. How does that work for you? I mean, how does it work for you to get sparring partners?
I look at the style. I look at the style of the fighter that we're fighting.
Right.
All the dynamics therein, height, whether he's a puncher or boxer puncher or slugger puncher, and I try to find individuals that can resemble him most likely.
Right. So this fight you had with Rodriguez, now he came into the fight, I believe, overweight. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, he came in overweight, and I said it's a title fight for us, but for him, even if he had won, he couldn't win the title because he was overweight, and he was given some time to make the weight and still couldn't make the weight. I just got the impression that he wasn't trying very hard. When you got 2 hours and you only lose 1 pound in 2 hours, so I get the impression that he just made up his mind that I'm not going to make the weight. So they fined him, and the fight went on. But I'm estimating that this guy must have been about 213, 214 when he came in the fight.
And what's the cruiserweight limit again? Let's get this clear.
200.
So he was
200 pounds.
So he was 14 to 15 pounds overweight.
Yeah, because he was at the weigh-in, he was 7 pounds overweight. And then we gave him 2.5 hours, and then he was 1 pound, 6 pounds overweight. So you know between that time and the next night that he had to gain 8, 9 pounds. Because once he found out, hey, they're going to just find me, I can go and eat now. I can eat up the whole Ukraine if I want to. So he came in. I'm sure he came in. I'm sure. Wouldn't get on the scale. I wanted to weigh him. But I'm sure he was in there at least 13, 14 pounds over the 200-pound limit.
So basically, we're watching a cruiserweight fight a heavyweight.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what happened.
Was that encouraging for you? On
I
another
didn't
side,
like it. You know, I didn't like it because this guy, he's already a puncher. All right, he's a heavy-handed guy. He's just one of those guys that he gets good leverage on his punches. With either hand, he's a dangerous puncher. I didn't like it. I very, very nearly pulled the plug on it. But Usyk said, "Look, we've done these 6 weeks of training. I want to fight. I want to fight. I don't want to pull the plug on it. I want to fight." Because I didn't like the idea that the guy only lost 1 pound in 2 hours. So I said, we need to pull the plug on this and move on, and we'll fight again in the new year. But Usyk said, no, I want to fight. We worked hard, and I'll take him. I'll fight him,
So what is the game plan now? So what's the game plan now moving forward?
We're looking to fight Glowacki, the WBO Cruiserweight champion.
I know you.
That's our next. I anticipate that will be our next fight.
For sure.
Yeah, we're the number one contender. We're the mandatory. We're the mandatory number one contender. So I'm 95% sure that we'll fight Glowacki sometime early spring, April, May.
What does he bring to the table as a fighter? He just knocked out Marco Huck. Did he knock Huck out because? Did he knock him out? Yeah, but did he knock him out because Huck was coming to the end of his like reign, or was it because he got old? Was it because
Well, that's something that I can't concern myself with. I don't believe no trainer can concern himself with whether he lost the weight fast, whether he was in the best shape or the worst shape. The only thing I know is that he agreed to fight, and he came in there as a cruiserweight champion, and he got knocked out after having Glowacki in bad trouble. Glowacki got up off the floor, and to his credit, he fought back, and he won the fight by KO. So I don't want to diminish what he did to Huck at all.
Right.
In my mind, Glowacki is a willing, dangerous fighter. And I saw his metal-like mentality because he got up off the floor. He was badly hurt, and he got up off the floor. In the very same round, he was fighting back. So we're in tough with him.
Has he made a defense of that title yet?
Pardon me?
Has he made a defense of the title yet? Glowacki?
I don't believe so.
What's he waiting for? Or is he waiting to actually fight Usyk or what?
He's an Al Heyman fighter, so it could be any number of reasons.
Ah, right. Okay.
But Usyk is his number one contender.
Do you see any difficulty? Do you see any difficulty with that fight being made?
No, I don't see any difficulty.
Even though he's an Al Heyman fighter?
I don't anticipate any difficulty in the fight being made. Because Usyk is this man's mandatory contender. Now, not unless the organization, the WBO, says that he gets a freebie or something. That he gets a warm-up fight before he comes to Usyk. And that could cause us a problem, because then we'd have to go ahead and take another fight too, and I don't want that. I want this title fight now. I want this title fight now. And Usyk wants to fight now because Usyk's goal is to break Evander Holyfield's record, to be, I think Holyfield won the title with his 12th pro fight. Usyk wants to try to break that record. So he has a goal too. And I think he's prepared to do it. It's not too much too soon. Glowacki is a very tough fighter. Very, very tough. Very disciplined, very tough fighter, very willing fighter. And he can punch. Just like all of the cruiserweights can punch. But Usyk wants to fight, and I say, yeah, I said the time is now. Let's take the fight.
Did you watch the other cruiserweight fight that was on, Roy Jones and Enzo Maccarinelli?
I watched it, I watched it, but I watched the fight, but it was just sad, it's just sad. I mean, and then he's talking about fighting again.
What?
He's talking about fighting again. He dismissed it. He brushed it off. And he's talking about fighting again. But you know what? It comes to a point where you have to condemn the promoter and those people who call themselves trainers that's going to that corner with him, because they don't care nothing about what happened. Because each time Roy Jones has been knocked unconscious, he was knocked unconscious sadly and tragically. I mean, he goes out. I mean, you can go on vacation and come back and Roy still be out. He's getting hurt here. And they're talking about brain trauma from football. What about brain trauma from being knocked out? Tarver, the first time Tarver knocked him out, you saw the reaction, how Roy was trying to get up, trying to walk, and he was out. Then Glenn Johnson knocked him out. Then the kid down in Green, down in Australia, knocked him out. Then Lebedov knocked him out. And now this. And each time he goes out, it's almost worse than the time before. He went to that floor, when this guy hit him, he went to the floor like a sack of potatoes. And it's sad. The people in the so-called trainers, they think, like I said, they think that, hitting pads and bags and stuff, it looks good when somebody's not punching back. But when somebody starts punching back, you're putting this guy in great danger. Each time he goes in the ring, there's a great danger in my mind. Roy might tell me to mind my business. He knows best. He knows himself best, or he thinks he knows himself best. But you can see the times that he's been out. He's been out. You look at the young man down in Green, down in Australia, and Lebedov, the way they knocked him out, People say, oh, but he was winning the fight up in the... I don't care. I think Green knocked him out in the first round, I think. Lebedov, somebody say, oh, he was winning the Lebedov fight and he got caught. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It's brain trauma. At this point in his life, he's 45, 46 years old. He doesn't need it.
What would encourage Roy to keep fighting? What is it makes him still want to fight? I don't get it. Is it ego? Pride?
Well, most of the time it's ego, Some people say that it's money, that he owes the government a lot of money. I don't know. But nothing is worth risking your life for. It must be some kind of a conclusion that they can come to resolve his issues other than him getting in the ring, It's just sad. It's a tragedy waiting to happen.
He was such a great fighter back then.
Yeah, yes, he was a great fighter. And he's diminishing that every time he steps in the ring.
And these younger people watching boxing today will think Roy Jones is just a bum.
Usyk told me he would never fight Roy Jones. They made mention here in the Ukraine about Tarver or either Roy Jones facing off against Usyk. But Usyk said that he wouldn't fight Roy Jones. He wouldn't even consider it. And the other kid from London said the same thing that won the other night. What's the kid that fought the other night from London? Cruiserweight kid.
Olville McKenzie?
Not McKenzie. He beat a Polish guy the other night.
You're talking about Bellew?
Bellew.
Yeah, he's from Everton way up north. Liverpool,
yeah.
That way.
Yeah. He said that he would never fight Roy Jones. So that's him and Usyk both said they wouldn't fight him. And rightfully so. They got respect for the guy, and they don't want to go out there and hurt a guy that they idolize,
Why would they have matched Roy Jones with Enzo Maccarinelli? It was like, I know Enzo doesn't take the greatest shot, but the one thing he does do is punch.
Yeah, but Enzo had been KO'd twice in his last 3 fights. If I'm not mistaken, Enzo had been KO'd twice. So I guess they thought that, Roy could land something and get him out of there, but it backfired.
I think he got cut by what's the guy? Jürgen Bremer. He was cut by Jürgen Bremer. They stopped that fight in the cut.
Oh, okay.
That was down at light heavyweight.
Okay.
But he was doing well against Bremer until that happened.
Yeah, okay. Now I see what happened. I didn't see the fight, but now I understand more so.
Okay. What about the other fight between Bellew and Masnick?
I didn't see the fight.
But Bellew could have stopped him in the 12th round with a left hook. He was really hurting Masnick in the last round. He won the fight. Where'd you put him as a cruiserweight?
Bellew?
Yes.
To tell you the truth, I've never seen him work. I've never seen Bellew work. I've never seen one of his fights, not one.
Okay. So something you have to look at in the future. Finally.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on what it would mean for Usyk to become cruiserweight champion of the world, and to the people of Ukraine? How would that impact them?
I think that the people here in the Ukraine are just looking for someone to replace the Klitschko brothers, and they're older guys now, and they're on their way out, and so they're looking for a new star. And I think that it would mean a lot to the people of the Ukraine. It would mean a lot to Usyk because he loves his home country. So I think it would mean a lot. It would mean a lot to me, to take a young man, coming into the pros and take him to the title, and then to have him defend it. That it would mean so much to me because we labored so hard to get there. Even though it's been 9 fights, those are 9 painstaking fights, and those it seems like forever, Even though it's only been 3 years, it seems like forever to do that. And there's a lot of emotion involved in it. So yeah, I want to be the guy to be there at his side when he wins that title.
Do you think he's got the personality to be a big superstar fighter, Usyk?
Yeah, because he's a likable guy. He's an intelligent guy. He's a sensible guy, and he's likable. People will love him across the board because he's a likable guy.
Okay, and HBO. There's talk about Usyk becoming an HBO fighter. How much do you know about that?
He just said that at a press conference the other day. He said that he would become an HBO fighter. He said that himself. He has ambitions on becoming an HBO fighter, and he spoke out about it at the press conference. It just shows you how this young man is thinking. He's a focused guy. He's one of those guys that talks the talk and then walks the walk. A lot of guys can't do that. A lot of guys can't